Okay, now we're up to 6H addition of ordinates for circular functions. And basically what this means is a function, so y equals, which has got a couple in it that we either add or subtract. So what we're going to do is we're going to graph cos of x and we're going to graph 2 sine of x. And we need to be careful of the domain. So the domain here is between negative pi and pi. So I've drawn the basis of what this is to begin with. So we've gone from pi to negative pi, and the first thing I'm looking at is the cos of x. Now cos of x, nothing's happened to that, so it's our normal cos graph, but so we only got half on this side because it goes up to pi, and then we're going to the left hand side with the rest of it. Now the 2 sine of x means it's a normal sine graph, but the amplitude is 2. So in this half, we only go up and down, so we get to our pi, but as you can see, we have amplitude of 2, and down to negative 2, and up again. All right, so what do we do now? Please pause if you need to copy the diagram. All right, so what we're going to do, the first one, with this one, we're going to look by eye. The second one, we're going to do some points and show you how to do it that way as well. So we're going to say the point here, which is 0, plus this point is going to give us -1. Okay, then we're going to go to the next one. 0 plus -2 is going to give us -2. And then here, 0 plus 1 is going to give us 1. And if we look at this here, it's not quite at 1. So you're just thinking just under 1. If we added 2 of those, then we'll get just under 2. The other one we know for sure is 0 plus 2 is 2, so that goes there. And pi, it's 0 plus -1, which gives us -1. Okay, from there, we just connect the dots. So we will have, come down here. Now, the point that you want to cross here is where you think by eye your diagram is, your graphs are approximately the same distance apart. So on mine, it's about here, and hopefully the same for you. So we're going to go up. We need to go through 1. We've said that's just below 2. This is at y equals 2. Same thing here. So find a point somewhere where these are approximately the same side. Because it's just by eye, it's not going to be perfect. So we're going to come through this spot here. We're going to end down at -1. So if I just highlight that on our diagram, graph, then you can see what your outcome should look like. Okay, and we're going to say this is cos of x plus 2 sine of x. Okay, for the second example, I have once again started. Before you stop it and look, have a listen. So first of all, we're still between pi and negative pi, and we have 2 sine x, which we had before. So it's the normal sine graph from pi to negative pi, but the amplitude is 2, as we discovered. Same thing before. Okay, that's why it goes down to -2 and it goes up to 2. Okay, but this time we have cos of 2x. Okay, so that is going to mean that our period is 2 pi divided by 2. So our period is pi. So we have to go a full cycle of cos within pi. So I've started up at 1. Because there isn't any amplitude, or so it's just at 1, and I've done my normal cos, and then I've come down on the other side. So we could do this by eye, but it does get a bit tricky when we have subtraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw up ourselves a table. So if you have a look at the table that I've drawn, I have got all the major points down the left-hand side that are on the x-axis. So we have negative pi on 2, 0, pi on 2, and pi. You might like to pause and draw up this table. Now this is what we start with. The question is 2 sine x minus cos of 2x. So we're going to put those points in. So we're going to go 2 sine of negative x, and we should get 0. Then we're going to go 2 sine of negative pi on 2, and we should get negative 2. Over here, same thing, but we will go cos of 2 times negative pi. So it'll be cos of negative 2 pi. Just to start you off, that would be 1. And then cos of 2 times negative pi is just cos of negative pi, and that'll give you negative 1. So you can use your calculators, or they're pretty simple exact values here because they're on the x and y axes. Our third column there is going to be what the equation is. So the equation is 2 sine x, or the function I should say, 2 sine x subtract cos of 2x, sorry. So our y minus 1 is going to be, y minus y2 is going to be negative 1. And then from that we get a coordinate. So the coordinate comes from x, which is negative pi, and our y minus y2, which is negative 1. And there you have one coordinate which you are going to plot. Can you please fill out the rest of that table and then come back and have a look at, see if you agree with me. All right, hopefully you got the same coordinates that I do. Now we're going to plot these on top of what we've already got, and then that should help us draw it. All right, so let's come back here and have a look. So our first point is negative pi, which is here, and negative 1. All right, so we're going to put a little dot there. Negative pi on 2 and negative 1, which is here. Then we've got 0, negative 1, which is here. So they should all be in line. That's a little bit low. Pi on 2, 3, which is up here. And our last one is pi negative 1, which is down here. Okay, now if you have we can do a few other ones by eye just to see what goes on in between these ones. So the question is 2 sine x. So it's this one, subtract this one. Okay, so for instance, if we have a look at here, so where it's actually crossing the x-axis, we have, this is the one we want, this, subtract what we have here is going to still give us this value. And the same over here. So this one, which is 2 sine theta, subtract nothing, will keep us at this point. Okay, if we have a look here, this is our 2 sine cos. This, subtract 0, will keep us here. And in the middle again here, this one, subtract 0, will keep us here. So it gives us an idea of whereabouts we're going to cross. All right, so let's fill this in. So we're going to come across from here. And then it's going to go up a little. Sorry, I'll just make it a bit more obvious. Back down to that spot. Okay, then it's going to come to 0 through here. That was another one of our points. 0, neg 1. Up to the point by sight, right up to 3, back down again, and down to our negative 1. Now I'm not using graph paper obviously, so it's not completely accurate, but this is basically what it should look like. Now, if you want to put this into your calculator, so if you put that into your calculator and make the domain really large, you'll see that this pattern goes like the same. So it kind of goes up, down, up, and then it comes right up and then down below the axes again and repeats itself. Up, something like that. Okay, so I have shown you there how to do it by eye or how to do it this way. In the exercises, it doesn't stipulate which way to do. So I'd say probably the easier ones or maybe the addition ones you can try this way. And maybe for the subtraction ones, you might want to put in your coordinates to help you with that.